the English Language Learning Podcast. Today's episode is from the news. You can find the link in the info section on the YouTube channel. So look for the link there. You can follow with me as I'm reading. We can read together, or you can just listen and have a focused listening comprehension practice. So it's your choice. The title, the headline, He Got Burnt. How one of Instagram's biggest fraudsters was brought down. And again, he got burnt. How one of Instagram's biggest fraudsters was brought down. He got burnt. How one of Instagram's biggest fraudsters was brought down. He got burnt. How one of Instagram's biggest fraudsters was brought down. So in the news headlines, this is from Vice News. I chose the headline because of the phrasal verb to get burnt, or the expression to get burnt, and to be brought down, or to bring something or someone down. So try and think about what those could mean. He got burnt. How one of Instagram's biggest fraudsters was brought down. And coming up, we have a short reading from the article, and after that we'll review the English before we ultimately get to some questions and conversation about fraud, Instagram fraud, electronic fraud, bank fraud, all types of this different ways that someone might commit fraud. He got burnt. How one of Instagram's biggest fraudsters was brought down. That was the headline. Now we're going to read. You can find the link in the info section on the YouTube channel for each video. So if you want to follow, go ahead, follow. Here we go. Ramon Abbas, alias Hush Puppy, has been jailed for 11 years for wire fraud, or fraude eletronica, money laundering, lavagem de dinheiro, and identity theft, roubo de identidade. His friends told Vice World News how they hoped against hope he was legit. Interesting expression, que eles esperaram contra a esperança que ele estava legítimo. Well, continuing. To his 2.8 million Instagram fans, Ramon Abbas, better known as Billionaire Gucci Master, or by his tag, @ Hush Puppy, was a man with the world at his feet, a hustler thriving in the dizzying wealth of the United Arab Emirates. A self-styled business magnate come fashion influencer. Oof. I'm going to read that one more time. A self-styled business magnate come fashion influencer. He was living in a 1,000 pound per night hotel with a cristal-packed refrigerator, designer outfits, and luxury cars. He picked up A-list friends from Premier League footballers to top fashion designers, who he duly splashed across his social media feed. But, there's a big but here, but in June 2020, he was hauled out of bed in the middle of the night during a televised FBI sting operation in which he was exposed as a con artist co-conspiring in corporate email scams that had funded every last pair of Gucci loafers. On Monday in Los Angeles, Abbas, 40 years old, was sentenced to 11 years and ordered to pay $1,732,841 American dollars in restitution after pleading guilty to charges including conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to engage in money laundering, and aggravated identity theft. He will be deported to Nigeria after serving his sentence. Ooh, after serving his sentence. Um, I don't think we have one more paragraph we'll read, okay? There's a long article. We're just going to read one more paragraph. He is among the most high profile money launderers in the world, according to Christy Johnson, assistant director in charge of FBI's Los Angeles office. His celebrity status and ability to make connections led to several spin off schemes in the U.S. and abroad, Johnson added, making the FBI intent on securing a sentence or punishment that deals a crucial blow to this international network. And we'll stop there. There's many more paragraphs. There's a lot more to read here, many more details, I imagine. But we can't read it all. So we'll stop there. Coming up next, we will review the English from the article. Again, if this is too slow for you, you can do double speed or, on your phone or your mobile, you can speed up or aumentar velocidade, or you can pular, you can skip this section because it is focused on grammar and vocab, and you can jump or skip to the end where we have the questions and conversations. So coming up next, all things English from the Vice article. He got burnt. How one of Instagram's biggest fraudsters. He got burnt. How one of Instagram's biggest fraudsters was brought down. The guy's name is Ramon Abbas, or also known as Hush Puppy. It's a good name, Hush Puppy. It doesn't sound like a fraudster, Hush Puppy. Let's start with the title. I already mentioned to get burnt. To get burnt. He got burnt. It's in the past. He got burnt. To get burnt é para ser vítima golpe. Right? To get burnt is when someone te enganou. When someone got you, someone tricked you, someone scammed you, SCAM, in the past, MMED, scammed. So when someone scams you or burns you or tricks you or commits some fraud against you, you got burnt. You got burnt. What else? To be brought down. To bring someone down. It could be physical. You could be watching UFC and, oh, great bring down. Or he brought him down to the floor. Okay, physically, no problem. Figurativamente, metaphoricamente, to bring someone down is derrubar, right? Like to oust, to bring down a government or bring down a criminal sindicato, a criminal enterprise, a criminal organization. The U.S. and Mexico brought down El Chapo. What else? Wire fraud. I explained this in the reading, but wire fraud. He's been jailed. Ele foi preso para 11 anos for wire fraud, for fraude eletronica. So the only difference would be wire, meaning for some reason we use this word legally for electronic. A hustler. This is a great word in English. It's very difficult. Let me see if I can find it. Hustler. He's a hustler. A hustler thriving in the dizzying wealth of the United Arab Emirates. A hustler. Hustler. You might think of the magazine, Hustler, dirty magazine. You might think of criminal. You might think of an athlete, right? So these are very different things. There's a verb, to hustle, Hustle. Okay? If you're playing sports, being a hustler or hustling is a good thing. It means to dar muito esforço para fazer alguma coisa, para alcançar seu objetivo, para dar mais e mais e mais energia, esforço, para conquistar o que você quer fazer, o que você quer conquistar e alcançar. So to hustle could be a good thing, right? You give lots of energy. There's in every American sport, there are certain people that we think of as hustlers. That guy or that girl, they never stop. They never really look like they are defeated. They keep going. The engine, the motor keeps going full speed. Kobe Bryant, greatest example, I think, of a hustler. Never really quit. Always played very hard. It looked like it was very important for him every moment in a game. So that's a good meaning, positive. Negative, right? A negative meaning for a hustler could be traficante. It could be someone who is pessoa que dá muito esforço para te enganar, vigarista, right? So someone who is trying to commit fraud or trick people could be a hustler too. So in English, hustle, a hustler, the context matters a lot, a lot. In this example, it's ambiguoso, right? Because it's someone who was hustling, at least honestly in the beginning. Na começa estava honesta, né? Ele está ganhando e fazendo vida de influencer digital. Que bom para ele. E no fim, não, ele estava cometendo fraude. So this in this article, it's both, right? It's both the working hard, but working hard to commit fraud. So he's a hustling hustler. Um, to thrive, right? A hustler thriving in the wealth, in the dizzying wealth of the United Arab Emirates. To thrive, or someone who is thriving, is prosperando. Hustler prosperando no lucro dos Emirados Árabes Unidos. Dizzying wealth. Let's do wealth actually. Wealth sounds like health. And it means health, but financially. So rico, lots of money, rico. So dizzying wealth would be lucro ou financiamento vertiginosa ou estonteante or vertiginosa, where it's like almost confusing, like oh my god, shockingly, so much that it's hard to imagine or understand, right? Think of Elon Musk or a very, 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 very rich billionaire. It's very hard to imagine what what it's like to have that much money. So we say dizzying, D-I-Z-Z-Y, epsilon, I-N-G, dizzying. To splash, and this is in the second paragraph, he splashed his friends across his social media feed. So to splash, there's my stomach. To splash, um, if you're getting a drink, and I'm getting maybe a rum and Coca-Cola, and I tell him, give me a rum and Coca-Cola, but só pingado, there we go, pingado, a splash, pingo, just a little bit. So to splash people on your social media is to casually have something lucrativo showing to the public on your social media, right? If you look at this guy's social media at Hush Puppy, I don't know if it still exists. Maybe he runs it from prison. You might see a few pictures, in the last couple months with celebrities. So to splash is to uh, to espalhar pouquinho, respingo, dar pouco de algo. A or feed of social media, same word, different pronunciation. In English, FEED, social media feed, where it's kind of continuous content showing up, showing up, showing up. You don't have to refresh, it just keeps coming. To be hauled out, but in June 2020, he was hauled out of bed in the middle of the night. So to be hauled out is to be carried, to be taken, to be ser arrastado, ser levado, to be physically removed from somewhere. You could haul your bags, to the taxi when you're going to the airport, and it just means carry. Or it can be, think of arrest of someone, where the police come and physically take someone out of their house. A scam, SCAM, golpe, right? A trick. The noun for a fraud. We don't usually say a fraud in English. We say a scam. Fraud would be the same meaning, just grammatically different. Fraud is uncountable. We don't say a fraud. We say fraud, to commit fraud versus to do a scam, or the verb to scam someone, or the noun, right? In this article, corporate email scams. Um, spin-off, spin-off, spin-off scams, right? He had people committing different schemes and fraudes y golpes in los Estados Unidos y los otros países no mundo internacionais. So spin-off is derivações, different derivations, different versions of some original thing, right? You can have the Marvel Iron Man, the main Marvel, the beginning of Marvel Cinematic Universe, and then you have different spin-off shows that come later that are, connected, but not really the same narrative as the main thing. So that is what is meant. That's the significance of spin-offs. It could be a verb, right? Hey, we should spin off our old idea. What do you think about that? We should spin off some new ideas from our last quarter's idea. Or it could be a noun. So different spin-offs. Or that show is a spin-off. A blow, with the FBI intent on securing a sentence or a punishment that deals a crucial blow to the international network of fraud. Grande golpe, grande bate, a big hit, something, that will make it more difficult, right? It's a negative thing. A blow is a big negative thing that happens to someone or an organization. That's it. There's a lot of words in here. I probably missed some words. Almost certainly there are words in this paragraph, in this story, that I did not explain that will be difficult. Please leave a comment or give me some feedback, specific or general, if I missed anything that was confusing. Coming up next, we have questions and conversation about fraud, about this topic, and anything related to any of the English that we read as well. But more generally, fraud and scams. He got burnt. One of Instagram's biggest fraudsters was brought down. That was our story headline, or the title. We did the English, we did the just about everything except for talk about the topic and the content and the themes of fraude, of committing fraud, of virtual or electronic fraud. Definitely a big topic in Brazil. I remember the first time I realized someone was trying to commit fraud on me in Brazil. was iFood. This is about 3 years ago, and today is the 28th, the last day of February 2023. In like 2019 or 2020, I remember, okay, I'd smoked some marijuana. It was late at night, very, very late, but I remember I ordered food the normal way. I always did is Uber Eats, not iFoods, Uber Eats. Had Uber Eats for many years, always was the same process. Choose your food, pay on the application, o aplicativo, and then go get your food wherever the delivery person shows up. I ordered my food, I paid as normal, I waited, get a call, go downstairs, get my food. The guy gives me my food, and as he's giving me my food, he says, "Hey, there's a extra service charge or amount that you have to pay, and I can't leave. I can't leave until you pay it. Uber Eats will punish me or something, whatever. There's some bad thing for him if I didn't pay the service charge, the extra service charge." So I was confused. My Portuguese was not good, so there was a language disconnect. It was very late. I had smoked marijuana, which is not so out of the ordinary for me, so that wasn't a huge factor. But speaking Portuguese and understanding Portuguese was difficult in this time. So I told him, "Look, man, you gave me the food. I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to check my bank because I have a bank application too. And if my bank shows that I have paid for the meal, I'm not going to pay anything else." So I go upstairs to get my internet connection, check my bank application, no problems. The money left my account, and I Uber Eats had confirmed that the payment was done. So I go downstairs. I tell him, "Look, man, I just paid already. So, you know, in 4 years of using Uber Eats, I have never, eu já nunca paguei no ponto de entregar. I've never paid at the point of delivery. I've always paid on the application. I will not pay you any more money. I will not use your machine. I've never done that before." Uh, of course, I'm tentando falar isso em português quebrado e nesse ponto com raiva, porque eu estava entendendo o que ele estava tentando fazer comigo. And I got really mad at him. I told him, I também eu estava confuso, porque talvez ele vai ser prejudicado por culpa de mim. So I gave him my WhatsApp number, and then I got mad at him because he told me that I had to give the food back. I said, "No way, man. You fucked up. You gave me the food first. You're a bad criminal." But here's my WhatsApp number. If Uber Eats gives you a problem, you can text me, or you can, whatever I need to. If I need to call Uber Eats, I'll do that, whatever. But I'm done. I'm not giving you any more credit cards. 2 weeks later, I get a text on my WhatsApp de uma escola do inglês, né? Perguntando se eu queria uma entrevista, asking, "Hey, do you want to interview for a school of English?" I looked at the Google Maps. The school was real, but eles me deram endereço. They gave me an address que foi diferente que no Google Maps. E no endereço que eles me deram, in the address that they gave me, it was saying the school was in the metro on the East Zone in Brazil. And immediately I started telling them, I started, falando besteira para eles, because I understood this was not a legitimate. And also, foi dia de folga, né, o banco. It was feriado that they wanted me to go do the interview. So that was my experience with golpe in Brazil. What are yours? But I have some more questions. The first one is, have you ever been the victim of fraud? What happened? Se você já alguma vez foi vítima do fraude, o que aconteceu? This is a true present perfect question. And anywhere in the English-speaking world, we use have you ever. Have you ever. There is no flexibility here. There's none. Have you ever. Isso é o caso no que está perguntando se Já alguma vez aconteceu alguma coisa. And so we always use present perfect here. Have you ever been the victim of fraud? What happened? I just gave you my story. I have a student. The same thing happened to her. Unfortunately, she did use her credit card at the point of entrega, of delivery, and she lost 10,000 mil reais nessa golpe. What happened to you? Number two, what are some examples of dizzying facts or statistics to your mind? What are some examples of dizzying facts or statistics to your mind? Me dá algumas examples de fatos or estatísticas estonteantes. Was that the right word? Where was it? I have it written down. Estonteantes. Yeah, estonteantes or vertiginosas. Um, na seu perspectivo, no seu opinião, no seu mente. For me, it's not necessarily a fact or statistic, but se você está vendo agora o telescopo, não sei como se fala telescopo, but the telescope James Webb, or James Webb, the images, I have one on my computer right now. It is the background for my computer, and it's a picture. All of the lights in it are galaxies. All of them. They're not just individual stars. All of the lights in the picture I have looking at right now, and you can see some of them clearly. Some of them are far that they look like little bright spots. They're all fucking galaxies. And that to me is it's a dizzying image of how big everything is outside in this universe. That in just one image that I'm looking at that fits on my computer screen, que cabe na minha tela de computadora, tem espaço-tempo, tempo-espaço tão grande que tá impossível visualizar de verdade. That the only way I can look at this and it makes sense is to see little white spots, little lights on my screen, because the size of them, o tamanho deles está tão grande que não temos a faculdade de entender isso. So that for me is a dizzying thought. Number three, do you ever splash? Do you ever add a splash of alcohol to your coffee? Do you ever add a splash of alcohol to your coffee? Se você às vezes coloca como se falou, se você algumas vezes ou tem hábito ou tem o costume às vezes colocar respingo de álcool no seu café. I don't mean every day. I mean maybe on vacation or on one day of the week or maybe in the afternoon. Do you ever add a splash of alcohol to your coffee? Number four. Do you have a favorite spin-off show or film? I know mine already. Andor, the Star Wars show. That was brilliant. It's a brilliant fucking show. Great, great TV. Se você não quer ou não está interessado ou não se importa nada do Star Wars, pode assistir esse show e it's a great TV show. Se você tem spin-off show, series ou filme favorito. Number five, I think. What do you think is the most common form of fraud in Brazil, in the USA, in the world? What do you think is the most common form of fraud? Let's check. Common form of fraud in the USA. O que você acha o tipo, a forma de fraude mais comum no Brasil, nos Estados Unidos, no mundo? This is the most... there's nothing here in the country. De de caridade, charity fraud. Hey, give us money. Look at all the hurt doggies and kitties and bunnies and oh no, look at these animals. They're abused. Send us some money to help them. You send us the money, we'll help the animals and the babies. Yeah, that's I think in the U.S. that might be. In Brazil, I don't know. Maybe Nubank or Pix. I think right now that seems to be common. But what do you think is the most common form of fraud in the USA, Brazil, or the world? Email, I imagine email fraud, electronic fraud, right? Could be probably pretty common, or with old people, an email or hey, you won. Here's a phone call. You won a vacation. All you have to do is write your name, your number, your address, your credit card. Number six or so, more or less. Uh, and this is our final question. Have you ever seen someone get hauled out of a bar, a plane, a restaurant, or a sporting event? Have you ever seen someone get hauled out of a public place or event? Se você já alguma vez na sua vida assistiu alguma pessoa ser arrastado ou levado com violência fora de um bar, voo, restaurante, evento esportivo, ou qualquer lugar. I personally, I one time saw as I was entering, this is in, 2010, 2011, when marijuana, maconha in California was so medical, right? But foi bem fácil conseguir receita do médico para conseguir. E eu tive. I was walking in, e também deveria falar que a lei nessa época, e ainda, mas nessa época, o governo federal foi ainda contra a venda de maconha. So the states had different rules than the federal government. Sometimes the federal government would still parar a venda e a situação medical na California. I was opening the door with my hand, opening the door into a medical marijuana facility. As I opened the door, it opened. Someone else from the other side of the door opened the door, and it was the DEA, or Drug Enforcement Agency. There was about 10 or more, mais ou menos 10 agentes da DEA, busting this medical marijuana facility. And the guy told me, they're closed. Estão fechado hoje. Desculpa. So that's my story of seeing. I did not see anybody get hauled out, but it was a similar style of experience. But let me know if you've ever seen someone get physically taken or hauled out of a public place. That is it for today. I hope this wasn't too long. I think it might be a little bit long, but inscrever, subscribe, leave a comment, a criticism, a like, a dislike, a suggestion, a thought, anything, an advertisement for your own stuff, pages, whatever. Any engagement is good for me to get more of you to watch and listen. And if you give me feedback, then you can kind of make your own show, right? You can kind of create the episodes that you prefer. So please inscrever and subscribe. Thanks for listening.